We have another special guest now joining us live. Senior Congress leader and Member of Parliament Karti Chidambaram is live with us. He is also, of course, joining us in the broadcast on the Constitution War. Is, of course, PM Modi and the BJP raised questions on the Congress on the emergency. And the Congress, of course, has been also raising questions on the BJP's clampdown on the emergency in 2024. Mr. Chidambaram, welcome. Thank you so much for being with us on NewsX today.
Hello.
Karti Chidambaram, you're speaking to us, of course, on a day when in 1975 emergency was imposed. The BJP, of course, has made a big deal of this day. They are saying that this is something that India should never forget. In fact, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also at the opening day of the Lok Sabha, the current Lok Sabha of which you are also a member, said that this was the biggest attack on the Constitution ever.
See, the BJP becomes democratic, egalitarian, inclusive on June 25th every year. And for the rest of the 364 days, they want to preach Ayatollah Hindutva and a totalitarian state. So a lot of water has flown in the Ganga since 1975-77. So there is no point in raking this up all over again. The Congress party has expressed regret for the emergency, imposition of emergency. The Prime Minister of India at that time, Mrs. Indira Gandhi herself, when she won re-election, has expressed regret. And we have moved on. And, but what we really need to be talking about today is the institutional collapse, which is happening all around in India today under this regime. Institutional capture, press freedom going down, agencies targeting people who are in the opposition, agencies targeting civil society leaders, and that kind of crackdown, which is an undeclared emergency and an undeclared totalitarian state. So instead of talking about present day issues and behaving that, BJP will always on June 25th every year rake this issue up of the emergency which happened 45 years ago, and somehow keep on evoking this until the cows come home. That serves no purpose. If they're really committed to democracy, if they're really committed to individual freedom, if they're really committed to liberty, they must act that. They've been in government 10 years, and every action of theirs has been contrary to those principles.
Yes, because it certainly turned out, to be a constitution war in a way in Parliament on the first day when, various senior leaders of your party, including Rahul Gandhi and others, senior leaders of your alliance, actually put up the constitution, and held up the constitution book when PM Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah were taking oath. But they came outside and said, look who's lecturing us on the constitution.
This is more symbolic. It's a symbolic gesture which we did in Parliament because the BJP is in its election campaign wanted a two-third majority. They wanted 400 seats so they could amend the constitution. So we wanted to tell them that the people of India are given a mandate where they have protected the constitution. It was a symbolic gesture to make that point, and we have made the point. I'm glad you noticed it.
Yes. I asked that question to senior leader and former Union Minister Prakash Javadekar, who was just with us a few minutes ago, of, why you're raking up the past, why you're talking about 1975 when the opposition says you should be in present day India, you should be talking about 2024 and issues of the future instead. He said, why should we forget our history? It's important to remember our history and take lessons from it, not forget it.
Absolutely. We should never forget our history. I agree. We should never forget history. We must take lessons from it, and I hope the BJP has taken lessons from the days of the emergency. That they won't raid opposition politicians on a whim. They won't foist false cases. They won't incarcerate them and keep them in jail even on a pre-trial basis. They won't attack opposition members, freeze their bank accounts. I hope they don't do all that. I hope they learn those lessons from history and act on that. But maybe they remember history, but they're not learning any lessons.
Okay. If we talk about the emergency, though, do you believe, Mr. Chidambaram, the Congress has expressed regret on it? Has the Congress condemned it? Is that something that you will acknowledge as
absolutely.
well? Is a dark plot, is a time that was best avoided, that shouldn't perhaps have happened?
I agree. Yes, that's exactly what Mrs. Indira Gandhi herself said when she got re-elected as Prime Minister. The Congress party has expressed regret. We have moved on. We have moved on. Has I mean, I don't want to get into whataboutery. That's a very, I simply don't like it. But could I say that has the BJP expressed regret about, say, Godhra, about so many other of their acts which have brought about great misery on people? But we have accepted that the emergency should not have happened. It was an aberration. We've expressed regret and we have moved on. But if the BJP has learned any lessons from that, they don't seem to be exhibiting it today. In fact, to the contrary, they are becoming much more totalitarian with an undeclared emergency and unleashing their favorite hatchet agencies on all voices of opposition and dissent.
Okay, that's a strong charge, of course, that you're making. That's a charge that you also made, of course, during the course of the elections.
I don't make it as a strong charge. I'm a living example of that. I'm a living example of that. So that's not a strong charge. It's a fact. I'm a living example of that.
Yes, that's what you told me on the day, of course, we spoke to you when you had just won your election. In fact, a few days after you won your election and came to Delhi, saying that you are an example of politics of vendetta and of extrajudicial action being taken by agencies. What about the Modi 3.0 term? What are your thoughts on it? The verdict is out there for all to see now. How many seats NDA has got? How many seats India has got? What does the next 5 years look like according to you on this front?
It's like Groundhog Day. I mean, it's the same ministers with the same portfolio and the same speaker. I mean, I do not know whether anything is going to change. It's all over again. It's a repeat. I mean, we're caught in a time loop, and the BJP is misreading the mandate. The mandate is not for them to have a free pass. It's not for a mandate for them to run a government by diktat. It's a mandate to run a government with consensus and in a consensual manner, in a manner in which you dialogue with everybody. But none of their actions seem to suggest that they have learnt any lessons from the mandate which the people have given.
Okay, my final question before we let you go then, Mr. Chidambaram. The BJP would turn around and tell you that they've won the election and that's why, of course, your allegation of them trying to change the constitution has not cut ice with the voter, and your allegations of politics of vendetta has also not been accepted by the people of India. But you would disagree with that?
How can I turn around and say that their entire edifice of their political campaign, which was built on the temple movement for the last 45 years, has been crashed by the people of Ayodhya who voted against them? That would be a fair comment, wouldn't it? The point is they don't have a free pass to amend the constitution. They can try as much as they want. They can't amend the constitution the way the parliament is structured today. And secondly, their mandate has come down. And the mandate has also did not reach their towering heights which they claimed they would reach. So they must be circumspect. They must be humble to learn the lessons which the people of India have given through the ballot box and act accordingly. But they have repeated the same cabinet with the same ministers and the same portfolio, and they are going to repeat the same. They have repeated the same presiding officer, with all due respect to him, who to be the Speaker of the House in the Lok Sabha. So what is going to change? If they have not learned anything from the matter, they are going to behave exactly in the same way. They haven't learned anything at all, and I don't think the people of India are going to be forgiving.
All right, Karti Chidambaram, appreciate you joining us on NewsX and sharing your perspective on this big story. The Congress has expressed regret and moved on, is what Karti Chidambaram says. From emergency, it's time that the BJP also moves on, is what he's clearly saying.